will brighten Reggiano's prospects, while Napoli have gone back to South America for the Colombian striker Freddy Rincon. But surely the most exotic import of all is Genoa's Katsuyoshi Miura, the Japanese striker who set the J-League alight last year. But the key question remains, who can deny Milan celebrating their 4th title in a row? Most likely among the killjoys are 2 gladiators called Baggio. The glorious skills of Roberto, allied to the new regime of Lippi, could lead Juventus to the success that is demanded of them, while Dino's arrival at Parma could be the crucial finishing touch to an already brilliant team that features Zola and Asprilla. All of Italy expects these 2 teams to lead the charge. But let's not forget Sampdoria, who've already given Milan a scare. They pushed Milan all the way in last weekend's curtain raiser, the Italian Super Cup. But the home team's nerve held out and Capello's men won the penalty shootout. Winning just comes naturally to Milan.
Well, as you can see right now here in downtown Turin, the talk is more of melons than of Milan, but the football fans here concentrating their interest very much on the local boys Torino. The season ticket sales are up. The fans' interest has been excited by the fact that the team has been almost completely reconstructed during the summer after 1 or 2 dark years. How will they get on, though, with this new season, particularly with this difficult opening match against Inter, the UEFA Cup champions? Well, we'll be finding out shortly with commentators Peter Brackley and Ray Wilkins. Don Howe will be joining us as well. All that to look forward to coming up after the break. Welcome back to Football Italia. Well, we're now outside the Stadio delle Alpi in Turin for our big game, Torino against Inter. And as you can see, looking very sporty indeed, it's Don Howe joining us once again. Don, looking forward to this new season?
Very much so. I mean, we always look forward to Italian football because it is quality football. And I'm sure there's a lot of people back home that'll be switching on their sets Sunday lunchtime to enjoy a good hour and a half of good quality football.
All right, let's hope so. Certainly should be a good game. We have 2 of the biggest names in Italian football, Torino and Inter. And in fact, for a quick potted history on these 2 grand clubs, let's now go across to our man with the almanac, Kenneth Wolstenholme.
Torino and Internazionale of Milan, 2 of the greatest names in Italian football, start the new season in the hope that this will be the year when they finally recapture past glories. Torino have won Lo Scudetto 7 times in their history, 5 of those titles coming in the 1940s, when the club, led by the legendary Valentino Mazzola, seemed set to dominate Serie A for decades. That dream became nightmare when in 1949 a horrific air crash wiped out the entire first-team squad, a tragedy from which the club has never recovered. In the 35 years following that disaster, they've won the championship just once, in 1976. And in recent years, despite occasional success in cup competitions, the club has been more notable for corruption, scandal, and plummeting attendances. Hopefully, this afternoon we'll see a bright new start for one of the sleeping giants of Italian football. Torino's visitors this afternoon have an equally proud heritage. In the 60s and early 70s, Inter, inspired by Sandro Mazzola, son of the Torino legend Valentino, were the dominant force in Italian football. In the late 80s, the side, based around the German trio of Bremer, Matthäus and Klinsmann, looked set to restore the club to its former glories. But it hasn't worked out that way. 1989's title win was Inter's last, and if Torino have been sleeping, Inter were all but comatose last season. After 86 uninterrupted years in Italy's first division and 17 championships, one of the legendary names of European football came within 1 point of the unthinkable: relegation. Ironically, while Inter's squad of superstars was stumbling horribly in the league, they were still good enough to win their 2nd UEFA Cup in 4 years. a fact which suggests that domestically the players find the weight of expectation too much to bear. Today, Inter kick off with a new man in charge, Ottavio Bianchi, one of the hardest coaches in Italian football. The question is, can Bianchi's Inter return to the top? Well, they'll have to get past Torino first.
So a tough time for both clubs really last season, apart of course for that UEFA Cup won by Inter, and I think both teams with a lot to prove this time round.
Yeah, like you said, James, they both had a disappointing season last year. But they've done something about it. They've both got new coaches, both teams, both clubs. Torino have brought in Rampanti, a coach who's come through the ranks at the club. Now they've given him the top job. At Inter Milan, they've got in Bianchi, the man who made his name at Napoli when he had to manage Maradona and made a super job of it.
Well, Inter, of course, are one of the, well, really the best clubs in Europe, really, both teams in Europe on paper anyway. And I think they would have to rank with Bianchi as their new coach the favourites today against Torino.
They've got some world-class names, that's for a fact, but fitting them together is not going to be easy for Bianchi. He's brought back Darko Panchev, the centre-forward from Yugoslavia. Then he's got Sosa. He's got Bergkamp, he's got to perhaps put in this loose position, this free position behind. And then he's got Wim Jonk, who's away on international duty today. You've got to fit them all together.
A complicated business, certainly. But anyway, for a slightly more in-depth look on who we should be looking out for in this afternoon's game, here's Kenneth Wolstenholme once again with a look at some of the star players.
In last year's fixtures, Sandro Cois scored the decisive goal. But who will be today's match winner? The man the Italians call Il Protagonista. At Torino, the giant centre-forward Andrea Salenzi fought a lone battle up front last year. And after an explosive start to the season, he faded badly in the second half of the campaign. But help is at hand. Torino have signed the ex-Italian international Ruggiero Rizzitelli from Roma to form a potentially lethal partnership. Perhaps the most intriguing character among the day's potential stars is a legend in his own country. Indeed, Ghana's Abedi Pele is one of the finest talents ever to emerge from the African game. Although Torino may start Pele in a withdrawn role behind the front two, he's capable of turning a match from the most unlikely positions. As is Inter's Ruben Sosa, a player who seems under permanent threat of transfer, yet consistently tops the scoring charts. In his 2 seasons at Inter, the little Uruguayan has delivered 36 league goals, most of them spectacular. The Macedonian striker, Darko Panchev, has delivered very little. Inter signed him from Red Star Belgrade 2 years ago for a small fortune. But one of Europe's most dangerous strikers suddenly became one of Europe's most wayward. Lengthy periods on loan followed, but now Panchev is back, and the word is that he's the Panchev of old and will start today's game. Which could be bad news for Dennis Bergkamp. The Dutch superstar had a fine World Cup, but a disappointing first season in Serie A could see him struggling for a regular place in the Inter lineup. But that's the nature of the best league in the world, where reputations count for little.
Hello there. Well, as you can see, we've whipped our way inside the stadium now. We move fast for a couple of slow coach looking people. And Don, they've just had a look through some of the star names in both squads. Who is it who really catches your eye?
Well, obviously, you'd look at the goalkeeping situation. When all of a sudden Sampdoria did that deal with Inter Milan, where they swapped goalkeepers, Paliuca came to Inter Milan and Zenga went off to Sampdoria. I can understand why it was done, because with the greatest respect to Zenga, playing for Inter Milan, he was very erratic. And they do need tightening up at the back, Inter Milan. I don't think Bergomi had a very good season last year. Ferry's gone. They bought Festa back, who was out on loan. So he's trying to tighten things up at the back.
Okay, well, meanwhile, what about Torino? They've lost 18 players.
Well, they've gone up front players in. They've got Rizzitelli come in. Rizzitelli looks as though he'll play up with Salenzi. Pelli's come from Marseille. Right. He'll sit in the hole behind them. So it looks as though they're going to go out for all-out attack.
Well, kickoff's coming up very shortly indeed. We'll get all of the up-to-date team news from Peter Brackley right after the break. Well, why don't you join us after the break for the first half? Welcome back to the Stadio degli Alpi. If you're just joining us, our big game on this, the opening weekend of Serie A, is Torino against Inter. Now, not a huge crowd here. Torino didn't bring the big numbers really to the stadium, but both ends are completely full up, and a lot of Inter fans I see as well making the short journey down from Milan. Nice to see that. It is a nice Sunday afternoon here in Turin. Temperatures around about 25 degrees, which I think is about 80 degrees centigrade. Now, if you are just joining us, you'll probably have missed the fact that this year, for the first time ever in Serie A, a victory will bring a team 3 points. That's a complete innovation here in Italy, even if not in the rest of Europe. Don, I know that there's been some dissent here in Italy about it. Not all the coaches are for it. Zeman asks, why don't they give them 4 points for a win? What's your opinion?
Well, I mean, we've done well with this in England, haven't we? And we've accepted it there and gone on with it. And it's proved very successful. On the World Cup alone, if they need an example, that's it. More goals than ever in the World Cup.
OK, Torino not always a squad last year who were perhaps playing for the win, but certainly both sides should be going for that 3-point bonanza at the end of today's game. Now, one thing that I find interesting is that, as you'll be seeing shortly, Dennis Bergkamp's not in the Inter starting lineup. He's actually sitting on the bench. I must explain that he actually has picked up a back injury, and it was only the other day that he came back to play in a friendly match. Bit of a disappointment, that?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it looks as though what the coach is doing, he's going to save him for the second half. So if he needs a goal or he needs to make something happen, he's got Bergkamp who he can throw out there. He's not 100% fit, is he?
No. What about Panchev, the man who's replacing him?
It'll be interesting. He was a failure, really, when he first came into Italian football. They loaned him out. Let's hope this time he really does the job.
But this, of course, was a player who was Europe's leading scorer when he was at Red Star Belgrade.
Yeah, he was classical, really. I mean, he really was a good goal taker and a goal scorer. I think it's a bit difficult, more difficult playing in Italy, though, than it was in playing in Yugoslavia.
Well, many players have, of course, found that, and Dennis Bergkamp just another in a long series. Kickoff should be coming very shortly. We're expecting the entrance of the teams onto the field. But in the meantime, let me hand you across to our ace commentary team, Peter Brackley and Ray Wilkins, who will give you all the up-to-date team news.
Thank you, James. Hello again, everyone. The new Italian season upon us then, and arriving on a note of high optimism after Italy's success in reaching the World Cup final. And hopefully some of the sparkle we witnessed from much of the tournament will encourage the same kind of enterprise from Serie A's finest. Torino, with 17 new players this season, is certainly an unknown quantity. And the feeling is that coach Rampanti, promoted from the club's very successful and admired youth team, will favour a more adventurous approach than his predecessor Mondonico. The signing of Abedi Pele, the Ghanaian from the French league, looks a shrewd capture. So too the acquisition of defenders Maltagliati, who's not in the side today, and Curricula. And Torino are hoping that striker Rizzatelli, then from Roma, will at last realise his full potential. Rizzatelli playing up front with Andrea Salenzi, the only survivor from Torino's regular first team last season. What then of Inter? Well, having suffered their worst ever season in the top flight, there's a lot of pressure on them to reverse the trend this time. New coach Ottavio Bianchi has chosen Darko Panchev up front, with Dennis Bergkamp injured, but among the substitutes today, he's been making his way back from that injury that he's had. And Bianchi, the coach, hoping too that his recruitment of Beer and Festa will improve the team's defensive stability. Paliuca's arrival means Inter have once again the country's top-rated goalkeeper to call on. And other new faces include Andrea Sado. He'll fill the anchor role in midfield after his move to the San Siro from Foggia. No Wim Jonk, Inter's other Dutchman. He's away on international duty. High expectations, as always, to greet the new season. The introduction of 3 points for a win hopefully will enhance the entertainment value throughout Serie A. And while inevitably Milan, of course, will start out as firm favourites to retain their title, both the teams we're highlighting today will at least set out in the hope of challenging that supremacy. Inter a disastrous 13th last season, and they actually finished 5 places below Torino, but of course their pedigree ensures they'll always be regarded as potential champions for all their recent failings. Inter, the UEFA Cup holders, and I'm sure the Aston Villa manager Ron Atkinson will be watching with great interest today, unless there's a decent film on the other side. Ray Wilkins alongside me here. Let's get first of all your views on the 3 points for a win. What effect do you think that's going to have?
Good afternoon, Peter. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Italian football. Really looking forward to this one. I think the 3 points would be a very, very good introduction into Italian football. We occasionally criticise the Italian game because teams don't go at each other enough, and I think this will make teams attack a lot more. It's quite evident that had 3 points been awarded last season, Milan would still have won the league, so therefore teams have got to start winning more games, and I think the 3 points will be a tremendous introduction.
Torino then kicking off, attacking the goal to our right, defending the one to the left for the moment. And it will be very interesting to see how their new players slot in together, how they gel in this opening fixture. There's Pelé, his first touch. A very sharp player, and he'll be operating just behind the front two of Rizzatelli, the man on the ball now, and Silenzi, who's beaten to the tackle by Bergomi. Once again, the inter-captain this season, Bergomi. Pelé taking the free kick. Benny Pelé, who came from Lyon in France, but of course made his name with Marseille. And he was in the side that toppled Milan in the European Champions Cup final 2 seasons ago. So many changes in personnel at Torino, enforced by the crippling debts that the club have had. This is Sosa now for Inter. Uruguayan international who's been in such sparkling form in the past few seasons since moving to Italy, first with Lazio and then with Inter. Laid back by Pelé. Tackled by Berti. One of the Italian World Cup squad, of course, had to fight a long battle against injury last season. He did so well at the end of the campaign that he forced his way back into the thinking of Arrigo Sacchi, the Italian national team coach. Forward by Falcone, who's been preferred in the side too, Maltagliati. A bit of a surprise there by the Torino coach. The youngster getting in ahead of the more experienced Maltagliati, who came from Parma. Wide by Seno. Played a key role for Foggia last season. Seno, he was their captain indeed. And I think he's a useful signing, Ray.
I think he's a very interesting signing, Peter. Yes, he had an excellent season with Foggia. But I think the interesting thing from Inter's point of view is the fact that they do have a fully fit Berti, but they also have a fully fit Bianchi, who missed most of last season. And Bianchi's already forced himself back into the Italian squad. He's a wide right player, very, very well disciplined, and once in forward positions can really deliver a super ball into the box.
Seno with the header. Yes, Bianchi has been called up for the Italian national team to play, or at least feature in the squad, for the match against Slovenia in the week, the European Championship qualifier. Wide by Passotto. This is Rizzatelli. Trying to send Falcone away. Rizzatelli, who's never quite realised that full potential that we were saying earlier on. Certainly in terms of scoring goals, but he's all-round a very gifted player. Working in tandem with Silenzi up front then for Torino. They're the giant figure, number 9, Silenzi. And it'll be Pelé to take the corner. Way by Bergomi for another corner.
Excellent defending from Bergomi, Peter. That really was a good ball in from Abide Pelé. And that's a great area in which to hit the ball. We see it here. He really does whip it in very, very sharply. And it lands in a very good area. But there's Bergomi, first-class defender, first to the ball.
Pagliuca just got his hand to that one. But only partially away. It goes Pelé, and Seno has to hook it clear for a corner. So a positive opening here by Torino. Who did seem certainly rather cautious under their last coach, Mondonico. They, of course, were knocked out by Arsenal in the European Cup Winners' Cup. Arsenal en route to their triumph. Away by Pagliuca, under pressure, and the referee says that's a foul. In charge today, Piero Ceccarini, one of Italy's most experienced referees. There's Pagliuca. What do you make of the swap there, Pagliuca for Zenga?
Well, I think Inter have got the better deal, Peter. I think Pagliuca is a super goalkeeper. Walter Zenga has been a marvellous goalkeeper, world-class goalkeeper. But I think it's obviously better for Inter that they have Pagliuca a lot younger, more agile, and obviously holding down the place in the national side.
Seno trying to drill it through. Well, cut out though by Passotto. Now here's Silenzi, who started last season so brightly, 12 goals in the first 14 games. But the goals rather dried up after Christmas, and in the end his final tally was only 17. On by Falcone. Just too long for Silenzi. This is Orlando to hook it away. Pisotto away from Seno. This is Pele now. Not a bad effort either, that had Pagliuca scrambling down to save.
But by saving that, Pagliuca's actually got the fans whipped up a little bit. They think it's a lot closer than what it was. Had he just walked aside and let it drift past the post, there wouldn't have been a sound in the stadium. But that naturally gets supporters whipped up, and that's good stuff from Abidi Pele, getting a shot in as early as that. But he's going back to the coach, Pete. It's very interesting that they should give it to Rampanchi, because he's had a marvellous record with the youth team. They really do have a first-class outfit, the youth side, and they always have done in Italy. So obviously they see some extremely good qualities.
The long ball was from Bia, who's come in at a sweeper in the interside, replacing Battistini, who's moved on. Now then by Seno.
They're playing with great confidence, aren't they, Torino? They really have set about it very nicely. It's always very difficult to... Here we see the foul again. It's always very difficult to put young guys into a side.
We'll take out the kick quickly here, just to interrupt your race. Silenzi was hoping to be on the end of that one.
Yeah, no problem, Peter. It's difficult to put 2 or 3 players into a side, but to have about 4 or 5 and to get them playing as an outfit is a very, very tough task. And that's the task that Rampanchi faces, and we'll just have to see how they get on.
Pele taking the corner. Pisotto with the cross. Just too long for Curricula.
Again, nice variation, very bright thinking from Abidi Pele. Little short corner this time.
This is Torisi with Scenza. They both came from Reggiano during the summer. Curricula, experienced defender, former Juventus player who arrived from Genoa. This is Maniconi, whose place was certainly under threat since the arrival of Seno, the man on the ball now. But room in this team found for both of them. No place for Shalimov, who's the other foreigner. They obviously wanted to keep Bergkamp in reserve on the bench. Away then by Falcone. Torino, who were 13th last season, or rather were 8th last season, and for some time were pursuing UEFA Cup place, just missed out at the end of the season. Inter, of course, in contrast, only just stayed up, only 1 point clear, I should say, of the relegation zone. And for a club of their stature, that is unheard of. Orlando now in pursuit. Good covering, though, by Curricula.
Yes, that really is unheard of, Peter. It's a disastrous season for Inter. I'm sure Bianchi realises the job he has in hand. He's got to get this side playing, because they are a very talented bunch of guys.
At least the gloom was lifted somewhat by their success in winning the UEFA Cup. This is Bergomi.
If I know Big Ron as well, Peter, he's out there. He's probably out there having a nice weekend in the sun. He's Big Ron.
This is Tosto taking the throw. Good control by Bedi. Pele, rather, Bedi Pele. Off goes Tosto.
It's pretty interesting to note, Peter, that considering Panchev really didn't have a very good first spell with Inter, he hasn't yet touched the ball. I would have thought he would have gone after it, tried to get a feel of the ball and tried to get in the game. He really hasn't even attempted to go and get a touch of the football yet. There we see him in the centre circle, just having a little glance around.
Here's Pele. Certainly working very hard for Torino. Trying to skip past the tackle then of Maniconi.
It's pretty evident that this chap's a bit of a tricky customer, isn't he? He used to have a wonderful left foot.
Well, he rather lost his way last season with Lyon in France. £900,000 signing by Torino, hoping to revive his career. Certainly very popular back in Africa. 3 times he's been their Player of the Year.
And he was very popular with Marseille as well, Peter. He had a fantastic spell with them, and I think the upheaval with Marseille affected a lot of players, and Abide Pelé was one of those.
So a chance here then for Torino. Shenzo wanting that wall further away, the man lining up the free kick.
Any further there'd been a stampede. That looks a long way for me. We don't normally see that in our football, do we?
This is Shenzo with the shot. Cannons away. Then off Orlando for a throw to Torino. Movement from Pelé. Pesotto. Now that's safely through to Paliuca, who of course spotted his copybook in the World Cup finals by being sent off in the game against Norway. Here's Seno. Fails to link though with Berti. And time here for Bia, who had a good season with Napoli. Like so many other clubs, Napoli had to unload a few to help settle their extensive debts. Bia was one of those sacrificed. Long ball by him. Ruben Sosa, who's so dangerous on the counter-attack. 16 goals from Sosa last season. Had been linked, of course, during the summer with a possible move to Leeds or to Everton. Real Madrid interested as well, but nothing came of it.
But he doesn't get easy tap-ins, Peter. I think every goal he scored was a winner. It was absolutely magnificent. Long-range strikes from everywhere, great volleying of the ball, and really first-class performance. I can't really see how they could have even thought of getting rid of Sosa.
Well, Bia has been penalised there for handball. I think he felt the whistle had gone, maybe for offside. So he picked the ball up, and that's a free kick then to Torino. Taken by Benetti, former Juventus and Sampdoria player. Indeed, he was a title winner with both. Cutting over the left footer. Seno. Now here's Bianchi. Down by Orlando for Maniconi. Playing in the heart of the midfield alongside Seno. This is Bianchi now. And a long spell out through injury, Bianchi. We're now back in favour with club and country. Festa. Maniconi. We will, of course, be keeping you in touch with all the matches in Serie A today. Latest scores as we receive them. And a full round-up at half-time and at the end of this game. And indeed, we've had the first goal of the afternoon. An own goal by Herrera of Cagliari has given Fiorentina, one of the promoted sides, the lead. Fiorentina 1, Cagliari 0. And Roberto Mancini has scored the first goal of the new season for Sampdoria at home to Padova. Wins 1,000 bottles of wine, which I'm sure he'll share among his teammates. You would, Ray, wouldn't you?
But of course, he'll have a good night anyway, Put, if they win.
I think that was won by Andreas Möller last season, the former, as he is now, Juventus player. Touched off then to Ruben Sosa, an explosive shot by him. And away for the corner. Padova, another of the promoted sides, trailing already then to Sampdoria, who will be title contenders, I'm sure. Sosa with the corner. And away for another one.
Yeah, they're quite irate with Shenzo. It was Shenzo that stayed in on the corner as their header was cleared. They all rushed out. Shenzo stayed in, playing everybody on side. They're not too happy with it.
Shenzo, who's now guarding the near post. Luca Pastine is the goalkeeper for Torino. This is Sosa now. Clever piece of play by him. Bianchi with the cross. And Berti pushing at the far post.
Yeah, it was a foul. I think Bianchi needed to whip that one in slightly more than hang it up. But it was excellent play from Ruben Sosa, wasn't it? Great awareness and lovely skill with his left foot. Really is one of those players that we love to see, Ruben Sosa. Here's another one, Nicola Berti, when he's performing well. Playing on the left side today because Bianchi's on the right. Slightly out of position, one would have thought. Possibly better coming from the centre of the field, making those darting runs into the box.
One in the air then by Bergomi. Here is Bianchi, who certainly gives width to the interplay. They did miss him last season. There's Seno with the pass. Now off goes Bianchi again. And that's out of play. Torino throw. Successful challenge by Vittorio Tosto. Just over 15 minutes gone.
Good start, Peter. Nice quick tempo to the game. Both sides looking to have a real go. It's nice to see.
Here's Berti, known as Crazy Horse. Certainly an extremely enthusiastic player. And he was so thrilled to be back in league action again towards the end of last season. Scored a couple of goals and into his last few matches. And obviously caught the eye then of Arrigo Sacchi as well. On by Rizzatelli, combining with Solenzi. Here's Pachev. Just about his first touch, I would think. Seno, it's a glorious turn by him till he was clattered by Scienza.
I think that's his third touch now, Peter. I've been watching Pachev very closely, and he's been very, very closely marked. Yes, I think, Will, we can see that really is a nasty challenge. But Pachev is being closely marked, and that's his third touch, and he hasn't given the ball away yet. He's actually played it back to his own team, which is a good start for him because his confidence will grow. And he really is a proven goal scorer. He was world-class with Red Star Belgrade.
Very much a penalty box player, Pachev. Rather unlike Sosa, who's full of running, will chase long balls. Pachev wants it played to feet, really, and he's lethal around the penalty box when he's in form, and he has been pre-season. He was the top scorer in the friendlies played by Inter before the season got underway today. But of course, once Bergkamp is fully fit, I suppose his place will be under serious threat again. Bergkamp, I gather, played in a game earlier in the week and scored 3 times, but they don't feel that he's ready yet for a full 90 minutes.
Not bad to have on the bench, though, Peter, is it? If your team's struggling a little bit, he's a world-class performer. He thinks very, very quick, so even if he's not fully mobile, he'll probably give the side something extra.
Here's Festa, who was signed by Inter from Cagliari, then loaned out to Roma, where he played so well. Inter couldn't wait to have him back again. Pele now, spreading the play well for Torino. One for Benetti to chase. Just kept it in, did he? Pele. Forcing his way to the byline. But couldn't deliver a telling cross. Seno now. Looking for Pachev. Here's Bianchi. Now Bia. No problem for Pastine. On by Falcone. This is Pesotto with the throw. Came from Verona. Flicked on by Seno. Pachev. Now here's a chance for Ruben Sosa. Lovely turn there by Sosa. And the shot being well saved by Pastine.
That was great football all round. It was a wonderful first touch from Pachev. We're only going to see the Sosa shot. But the play by Pachev was first class. He pulled it down, he played Sosa through on the second touch. And I thought Sosa was going to hit it, actually, but the turn in the finish was quite wonderful, and it's a good stop.
So with 20 minutes gone, the first real chance of the game to Inter. Falling to this man Sosa, who's taking the corner now, just over the head of Seno. Pesotto losing out then to Bianchi. Here's Bia. We did look very composed last season when playing for Napoli. And the foul on Seno. This time by Bonetti.
I've got to say, Peter, that's an awful challenge. That is, without being disrespectful to forward players, that is a forwards challenge, that. And he's actually hurt himself. And it's a desperate tackle, and with the new rules, he's very, very fortunate to actually be on the field, I would have thought.
I was going to say, that's the kind of tackle they're endeavouring to clamp down on. It was a perfect example there of a player going through, making little attempt to play the ball, catching the player, and no yellow card. It's all about interpretation. Actually, this man has a reputation for sending players off.
Well, let's hope he doesn't do that, but that's certainly deserved a yellow card.
He's sent off 23 in just over 60 games in Serie A.
I bet he's quite a popular chap.
Now Rizzatelli on for Salenzi. Wasn't the best of return passes though by Andrea Salenzi. It's a foul on Sosa.
It looked like a 6 of one and half a dozen of another there, Peter. They're both jumping, and unfortunately Sosa, being the stature that he is, he gets knocked over. But this is well within his distance. He really does love a proper goal as Sosa.
Manicone is there with him.
He's actually telling him where he wants it, what blade of grass to stick it on there.
Well, Sosa will certainly fancy his chances from this kind of range, as we've seen so often in the past. He has a fearsome shot with his left foot. Seno has placed himself in the Torino wall. Here is Sosa now driving it through, and easily gathered though by Luca Pastine.
Yeah, it was easily gathered by Pastine, you're quite right, Peter. But the thing with Sosa when he hits these free kicks is that he very rarely misses the target. He actually makes the goalkeeper make a save on most occasions.
Shenza. News of another goal coming in, scored by Parma, another of the fancied sides, of course. They're at home to Cremonese this afternoon. And on his debut, Fernando Couto, the Portuguese player, has given his team the lead. Parma 1, Cremonese 0. I would certainly fancy them to do well myself, Parma, this season. Good signing for them in Dino Baggio.
Excellent signing, Peter. Yeah, Baggio really did look to be one of the successes of their World Cup campaign for Italy. Really is a first-class player, but just goes to show the ambitions of Parma once again. They went out and got Zola, and now they've gone for Baggio. They really do look as if they're going places.
Here's Festa. Now then for Darko Pachev, who's hardly had a look in really with Inter over the past couple of seasons. He's played only 12 matches in Serie A in the last 2 campaigns since his move from Red Star Belgrade, where of course he was a record goal scorer.
I must say, Pete, in doing this, I've not really felt sorry for too many players.
It's Sosa's free kick.
But I really felt sorry for Panchev in his first season. The poor chap missed numerous chances to score goals, and he really did. In the finish, his confidence was so low. And I sincerely hope that this season he can produce the goods, because he is obviously, or was, a classic footballer.
Well, one man who's already producing the goods again this season, Signori, the top scorer in Serie A last season, has struck again. Bari, promoted side Bari, 0, Lazio 1. Beppe Signori on the mark already.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Peter, but there's a lot of goals flying around Italy at the moment. We haven't seen one here, but all sides seem to be attacking.
4 goals scored so far in Serie A. Pele losing out. There's Berti, now then to Seno. Berti again. Bianchi has made the run outside. This is Pachev trying to send him clear. Parisi was appealing for a free kick. Play on, says the referee. Bianchi will chase anything. Scenza happy to shepherd it out.
He wouldn't have caught that one on a 750 Honda, Peter. That really was an awful touch from Pancher. But the first bit of the little dummy that he did was absolutely fantastic. That was first-class bit of football. Quick thinking, and sent Bianchi down the line.
Call him the Cobra, Darko Panchev, which relates really to his rather slow, lethargic-looking appearance, and then suddenly he'll strike with venom. But he hasn't had many opportunities to do that for Inter. Maybe that'll come this season. No doubt about the man's goal-scoring potential. Here's Pesotto. We've seen a fair amount of the ball in this first half. Salenzi getting the header on. Pele in pursuit. It looked like a push there.
Absolutely ludicrous. I don't know why people do that, forward players do that. Bianchi's actually going to give a corner away in Torino's favour, and Pele's just let him out of jail. He's gone and pushed him in the back. And it's a free kick to Inter.
Flags up now against Sosa and Panchev, who points to his chest. Is it me?
I think Sosa's saying to him that he bent his run, Peter, which would have meant he'd come out into the middle of the field and duck back in, and it actually looked very, very close.
Well, let's get the early thoughts of Don Howe joining our commentary team today. Don, what have you made of it so far?
Yes, Peter, well, from our view, Inter Milan are right on top. I mean, they're busier, they're getting to the ball first, they're getting it played early. Sosa is outstanding. He runs off the ball and he's making position to receive the ball all the time. Whereas Turin at the moment, it's very, very bitty. I mean, Salenzi up front, and he's virtually playing up there by himself. I mean, Pele is sitting behind Salenzi, but he's not getting in the game enough, and he's definitely not supporting Salenzi enough.
Thanks, Don. We'll join you again later on. Here's Pele now. He's got Salenzi up in support. Bags of energy so far from Abedi Pele. Scenza's attempted pass. He was very much the playmaker in the Reggiana team last season, Scenza. Hoping to add some guile to Torino's approach play. The cross hit by Bonetti. Rizzatelli challenging, but to no avail. Managed only 4 goals last season, Rizzatelli, playing for Roma. In fact, I think his best tally has only been around 7. But he's very highly thought of in Italian circles, and did indeed play in the Italian national team for a while. Not though it has to be said for, I think, some 3 years now, since Arrigo Sacchi took charge. I think he played in his first game, but hasn't featured since. Abedi Pele, who has started promisingly, Torino's 6th corner of the game. Get curled it dangerously. Off goes Sosa, looked to be tripped then by Pele. Once again, his enthusiasm has got the better of him. The kick taken quickly, intelligently as well, on by Bianchi for Panchev to chase. That's good covering, though, by Giulio Falcone.
It is, but that's what it's all about, this football, Peter, when you play this sort of level, is the quick thinking. Sosa's brought down there, the ball's on the floor, he plays the quick free kick and they're off and they've got a corner. Sosa really does. His first 2 yards are in his mind, and he really does think so fast.
And it was Falcone, the 20-year-old, to the rescue. Player who's come up through the youth ranks at Torino. Kick taken by Sosa. And heartlessly away for a goal kick to Torino. Pastine here is the 2nd youngest goalkeeper in Serie A this season. He was last season's deputy to Giovanni Galli, who, like everybody else, has departed. Just Salenzi left from last season's first team. There's Salenzi's challenge now. Pesotto. It's got Pele in the round about the penalty spot. But Bianchi can bring it away now then for Inter. And there's an injury, I think, to Salenzi.
Yeah, it is Salenzi, Peter, yeah. That's quite incredible, isn't it? Only Silenzi's left from last year's team. Quite unbelievable. Actually, it is very, very difficult. Don was quite right in saying that a lot of their players have been very bitty, but when you've got players that have possibly only played 5 or 6 pre-season games together, it is very, very difficult to get the side to gel immediately. And I think once you see them lose possession of the ball, they get behind it as quick as they possibly can, and they don't want to lose a goal. And at the moment, it's pretty even Stevens.
Silenzi being stretchered off. Of course, the new instructions insist now that if he wants further attention, he has to leave the field. So while he goes off, there's news coming in of another goal. It's Roma 1, Foggia 0. And the goal scorer, Polto. Totti, get it right this time. Roma, another side who expect to do well this season, with a lot of changes in their side. And they are a goal up at home to Foggia. Well, there's Silenzi. That's a real blow for Torino to lose their main striker. He's actually by far and away the most experienced player in terms of Serie A appearances. He's only played 58 times in this Torino squad.
They're very inexperienced, aren't they? They could do with that experience in the side, and he really is he's a first-class forward.
Here's Berti. Orlando taking the throw. They're also without Davide Fontelan, Inter. He's injured at the moment, so they've got him to come back. This is Orlando, who does a good job for them, plays in a variety of positions, settling in down the left side this afternoon. He's often played further forward on the right. Bia with Seno. Very much the driving force for Foggia last season, Seno. Side for whom, of course, Brian Roy played before his switch to Nottingham Forest. And that looks to be a very successful move so far. Here's Seno now. Maybe Brian Roy looking in today. Jürgen Klinsmann, I'm sure, will be following the Italian league with great interest. He, of course, a former Inter player. Now there is Silenzi back in the fray, and hopefully no harm done. Jump by Berti. Time here for Bia, who was known as the Baresi of Serie B from his time in that division before his switch to Napoli. Certainly a very composed defender, a calm defender. Maybe not as quick as Baresi, as Baresi used to be. There's Bia again. And the shot from Pachev.
Good play though, wasn't it? Good play from Sosa and Pachev. Nice ball up. Good use of the chest from Sosa and Pachev on snapping it on the volley, but just wide. Going back to Brian Roy and Klinsmann, Peter, they really have started the season marvellously well, haven't they? And it's great for us to have them in our country and plan, and not only on the field but off the field, they've been an absolute credit.
I think the referee wants the goalkeeper to get on with it. Beatti's headed down. This is Sosa now. Almost combined with Pachev. Orlando. Torino struggling to get it clear. Manicone. Wide for Bianchi. In fact, there was a yellow card for Luca Pastine. Here's Bia. Only scored 3 times for Napoli last season on his sweeper role.
I think that was a little ambitious though, Peter, wasn't it? So must have been 45 yards out there.
There's Bianchi. Second man in as we look there. Coach of Inter. Had so much success, of course, with Napoli back in the 80s when Diego Maradona was with the club. Led them to the championship in 87. Manicone. Here's Seno. Now Festa. Silenzi's lunge at Seno. In goes Seno again, now Manicone. Bianchi. Sosa feeding Pachev. Seems to have got his appetite back again, Darko Pachev. 10 minutes of the first half to go, and it's Bonetti for Torino. No way through from there, though. Blocked it upfield by Bia, somewhat hopefully. Scenza. Now Tosto. Nicola Berti.
Silenzi doesn't look too happy, Peter, actually. He's limping around there.
Bianchi. Look at the run there again from Berti. Now Seno to Sosa. Lovely piece of skill then by Ruben Sosa. So nearly set himself up for a shot. He's so quick off the mark, Sosa.
He is the man, though, Peter, isn't he? He's never still, he's never static. People can't pick him up, and he gets marked as tight as anybody else. But he played a little give and go there, and it was very unfortunate he didn't get a strike in on goal.
Torino are clearly contemplating a change to presumably replace Silenzi. Petracchi will come on to take over from him. Gianluca Petracchi. So that's a real setback for Torino. Handing over the captain's armband, I think, to Rizzatelli. Petracchi, who's come from Venezia during the summer. Silenzi accepting the acclaim of the crowd. That'll be a worry for his coach. A lot was depending on Silenzi this season. Petracchi, who's now with his 7th club in Italy. Passato coming purposefully forward. Here's Rizzatelli. Much now resting on his shoulders with the departure of his front-running partner, Silenzi. Down by Berti for Seno. Manicone. Threaded on well to Berti. Here's Pachev. Now this is promising for Torino. Pele. Oh, he's given it away very carelessly then to Festa. On by Seno to Pachev. Bianchi probing now. Is Pachev, released by Scenza and Coricola.
Good play from Pachev. They're laying the ball off out to the right, made a good diagonal run into the box, and consequently they've got to throw in a very dangerous area. He's having a little bit of a puff there.
Sosa. Here's Bergomi. Bergomi again, starting his 15th season for Inter. And of course the only survivor still active from the 1982 World Cup finals. Flicked on there by Sosa. Pachev offside. We saw his speed of thought there. He was such a consistent goal scorer back with Red Star Belgrade in his time there. But he's got just the 1 goal for Inter in 2 seasons. Of course, in fairness to him, he's hardly played. In goes Petracchi.
It's a bitter blow losing Silenzi, Peter, isn't it? He's obviously proven talent in Serie A, and to actually lose him in such an important game for Torino, despite the important they get something out of it, is a real bitter blow.
Pele. Closing down by Bia. And of course they haven't got the aerial threat now of Silenzi. Although not too many of his goals came from headers. I think only 5 of his 17 were scored in the air. Certainly He's a big striker, Silenzi.
It's a good return as well, Peter. 17 goals in this sort of company. Very good return.
Seno. Rather casually forward by Bia. Pagliuca not really extended so far in the first half by Torino. Here's Festa. Bianchi with Manicone. Pastor, almost caught by Seno. Into the last 5 minutes of the first half. Seno, a prodigious worker, penalised on that occasion. Rizzatelli. Almost linking up there with Pelé. That was good anticipation by Bia. Panchev to Bianchi. Persevering for Inter down that right side. Bergomi with Seno. In goes Sosa. Chance here. The defensive sloppiness has been punished by Ruben Sosa.
He is the man, Peter, and that was absolutely fantastic football. His speed of thought is incredible. Just knocked it past Pastine, and with the old swinger, whacked it in the back of the net. A great goal. Been the first-class performance from Sosa this afternoon. Here it is, the ball, long ball just pumped through. Falcone, who's had a very good game. And there's Sosa thinking ahead of everybody else on the volley, back of the net, 1-0. And Inter do look very comfortable, it has to be said.
The goal coming 3 minutes from half-time, scored by the Uruguayan international Ruben Sosa. There was certainly some hesitancy at the back. As Ray was saying, though, he's otherwise had a good first half, the young defender. But they lost their concentration there. Falcone was punished, and Torino find themselves a goal down. Away by Bergomi. He's a real predator in the 18-yard box, Sosa, as well as his explosive shooting from outside the 18-yard area. He showed there how nimble he is inside it as well.
It does make you wonder, Peter, how they actually want to offload him. He really has been for the last couple of seasons for Inter, a first-class performer, and that goal just showed the speed of thought that he has. And on this afternoon's performance, he's a mile ahead of anybody else on the field.
Top scorer in 4 consecutive seasons with Lazio, and in the last 2 for Inter. Here he is again now. Sosa's pass, this time too long though.
He'll be disappointed with that. It was a good turn and it was a great run. I can't see who it was from. I think it was Bertie. But he had a big area in which to hit the through ball, but overhit it. I'd imagine he'd be quite disappointed.
Now some good news coming in for David Platt's team, Sampdoria. They've scored a second goal against Padova, and it's Ivani, the Italian international, who has struck for them. Sampdoria's ground closed for 1 game, so that match is being played today in Bologna. Mancini with the first goal, and Ivani the second. I saw Sampdoria in the pre-season tournament up in Scotland. They look very impressive. Certainly too strong for Newcastle, the team leading the way in England, until Ray Wilkins is fit again. Now here's Shenza. Caricula. Benetti. Bergomi, the way of Pelé. And a foul then by the Inter captain.
You can't help thinking, Peter, it's a long way back for Torino now. I know it's only 1-0 and anything can happen in football. But Inter really do have some experienced defenders, and it's going to be tough for Torino.
They haven't really threatened Pagliuca too often in the first 45 minutes, which are almost up now. Schenzer, who's had a couple of cracks at goal.
The only moments of panic have come from a couple of in-swinging corners from Abide Pele, but apart from that, I don't think Pagliuca's had to go to ground yet.
Belgomi to Bianchi. Inter certainly weren't too successful on their travels last season. Cost them any chance of challenging for the championship. So if they can hold on to this lead today, it'll be an excellent start for them. Schenzer. We're now in injury time. Bia, challenged by Pessotto. And the referee has given the free kick, I think, to Torino. And Brackley will take it. Called over invitingly. But they have some very durable defenders back there, Inter. The likes of Fester and Bergomi. Here's Petracchi again. Back by Tosto. Here's Pele. Has a really sweet left foot. The crossing wasn't deep enough though. Away by Fester. No foul by Mariconi. Despite an appeal by Pele. Now the free kick has gone to Inter.
Strange decision, Peter, isn't it? Both players have put their foot up to the ball. And the referee decides it's Inter's free kick, but that is a strange decision.
Bianchi. Ruben Sosa. Now Bianchi. That was Tosto in the way. Pele. After the great man himself.
Bit of a burden to carry, isn't it? Being named after Pele.
I've got a friend called Wilkins. Here's Petracchi.
Unfortunately.
And there is the half-time whistle, blown by referee Ceccarini to signal a good first half for Inter. They've certainly been the better side and created more chances too than Torino. And 3 minutes from half-time, they had their reward with a goal from Ruben Sosa, which divides the two teams. Half-time in Turin, Torino 0, Inter 1.
Welcome back to the Stadio delle Alpi. Here we are on the opening day of this new Serie A season, where of course Torino are playing Inter, and we'll come to that score in good time because it's time now to race quickly through the half-time scores. We start off at Bari, where Lazio winning 1-0. Signori, as ever, the scorer there. Lazio down to 10 men now that Favalli has been sent off. Brescia 0-0 with Juventus. Fiorentina 1-0 up at Cagliari after Napoli came up with an own goal for the away team there. That was actually the first goal of the afternoon, but that didn't win the 1,000 bottles of Pescara wine. He might be rather grateful about that. That actually went to Mancini's, we'll find out later on. Anyway, going down the list, Napoli 0-0 with Reggiana. Parma 1-0 up with Cremonese, Fernando Couto scoring on his debut. Roma 1-0 up, Francesco Totti, the young striker there, scoring against Foggia. Sampdoria at Bologna, Sampdoria over Padua 2-0 up. Mancini with the first official goal of the afternoon, and Ivani backing him up. Torino trailing by a goal to nil here against Inter. Ruben Sosa, as we saw earlier, the scorer there. Now, obviously, that leaves one match, Milan-Genoa, which is the evening game today, and you've got a chance to see that later on this week, as Ken now explains.
Mezzanotte, our Tuesday night companion to Football Italia, kicks off this Tuesday. The setting, the San Siro, home to champions Milan. At the end of April, it was carnival time. The flags, banners and fireworks part of the celebrations as the 80,000 crowd feted their heroes, champions of Serie A for the third time in a row, and the 14th time all told. Goals like these helped lift Lo Scudetto.
Now here's Papin. Milan lead 1-0. But he scored! Just a minute to go, and Alva And struck again for Milan.
To the Milan Roll of Honour were added new heroes, men like veteran striker Daniele Massaro, Demetrio Albertini, Paolo Maldini, and skipper Franco Baresi, a hero of over 400 games for the club. It was a season of records for the club, with goalkeeper Sebastiano Rossi managing to go 929 minutes unbeaten. And for him and his teammates, there were even greater delights as Milan went on to claim a superb double by lifting the European Cup, destroying Barcelona in the final on a May night in Athens. For coach Fabio Capello, it's been a 3-year spell littered with silverware. Can he inspire his team to those same dizzy heights again this season? Mezzanotte on Tuesday night can supply some of the answers, as Genoa go to the San Siro as prospective first lambs to the slaughter. Tune in this week and every Tuesday night during the season for more exciting action from Serie A.
So that looked that to look forward to, the champions Milan back in action, and Mezzanotte on Tuesday night. Remember, the third programme in our Football Italia triumvirate is, of course, Gazzetta on Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock, if you can bear to be up that early. But anyway, the football continues live here this afternoon on Channel 4. We've got the second half coming up. Remember, Inter are currently leading 1-0 over Torino. Join us again after the break. Welcome back to the Stadio degli Alpi, which, as you can probably see, has filled up quite nicely now, actually, and we've got a goal on the scoreboard as well. It's Inter 1-0 against Torino, and no big surprise, really, Inter scoring that goal.
No, an impressive first-half performance by Inter Milan, with Sosa being easily their best player. But I've been impressed with them also in midfield. I mean, the 4 midfield players, Bianchi on the right, then you got Seno, the new young boy from Foggia, who had a little bit to do with the goal, put the ball into the box. Then you got Maniconi and Berti. I mean, they're controlling the game, and their service up to Panchev and up to Sosa is first class.
Okay, but just before the second half gets underway, a quick word about Torino. Pele's nice, but other than that?
Well, I mean, Salenzi's gone off now, and they've switched Riccitelli up to the front, but he's playing a lone role up there. Betty's coming too deep. He wants to stay up there, so when the ball goes up to the front player, when it gets up to Riccitelli, he wants to be there, so he can combine with him. He's getting caught up in midfield play. That's why the front player's getting isolated.
Okay, well, wise words from Don Howe there anyway, but we will hand back now to our commentary team for the second half, Peter Brackley and Ray Wilkins.
Thank you, James. Referee Ceccarini. And Darko Panchev then to start the second half alongside Ruben Sosa, who was certainly in devastating form for the goal, which does divide the two teams so far. And I think we both agree, Ray, good value for their lead, Inter.
Yes, no question about it, Peter. They were very competent in the first half. And I think in Ruben Sosa, they have a match winner. He thinks football, and he thinks very, very quickly indeed. And not only is he a goal taker, but he's a fantastic goal maker as well. So Torino will have to be careful, because if they come out too strong against them, you have the quick wit of Sosa that could carve them open again. But Don's quite right. Riccitelli playing up there all on his own, no one up there to support him. They've got to get people forward now. They've got to get back in the game.
Away then to go Inter, seeking their first title since 1989, when Trapattoni was the coach. Here's Sosa now, bursting straight through, almost on the kickoff, and nearly squeezed it in as well.
And for once in his life, Peter, his first touch let him down on that magical left foot. It was a great ball. It was a great kickoff from Inter, and Sosa was onto it like a flash, but he still managed to get a shot in on the old swinger. He's prepared to have a go. That's the important thing. Now, when you're in those positions...
There's Maniconi with the cross, too long for Berti.
Yeah, when you're in those positions, Peter, even if it is on the wrong foot, you do have 8 yards in which to make that mistake, and it's well worth getting your shot in. And we saw Ruben Sosa there. It isn't a good right foot that he has, but he's prepared to have a pop.
Up goes Seno to no avail. Inter, of course, one of the big three in Italy. But they've won only one championship for the last 14 seasons. Here's Scienza now, looking for Riccitelli. An ambitious backheel by him. Petracchi with the cross, which embarrassed Bianchi. Under pressure from Tasto. Bianchi is still fighting his way back to full match fitness after that very lengthy spell on the sidelines. Bonetti with the corner. Out by Berti, only as far as Scenza, who has shown a willingness to shoot for goal in this game so far.
Not quite got the shooting boots on yet though, Peter, but the thing about Bianchi, he's given away 2 or 3 corner kicks and throw-ins deep down in that right back spot. But it's his discipline to track people back in there. He really is a very, very disciplined player. And when people make runs upon him, he's back and he's clearing the ball for Inter.
Yes, I think that's what Saki likes about him. And he was very anxious to restore him to the Italian national squad. Sosa now. Unable, though, to get the better of Curricula. Bogomi in ahead of Pele. Here's Seno. Darko Pachev. Pele, lovely skill by him. Away from Seno. Petracchi. Bogomi, though, got back to his defensive position. One of the best markers in the business. No real chance there for Petracchi, who was surrounded by towering defenders, Festa among them.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth there, Peter. If Bergami's going to go and sit in on Abile Pele, he's got a very, very tough afternoon because he is a very good defender. World-class defender and very well disciplined.
Inter with only 3 away wins in Serie A last season. So they'll be very determined to get off on a winning note today. Here's Pachev. Really delayed over his shot. Bianchi now. Tosto with a foot in. Torino showing plenty of appetite for the game at the start of the second half. Pele. Outsmarted by Bianchi, and the referee saw nothing wrong with that. Isato. Petracchi. Falcone. Isato, Petracchi rather. Rizzatelli. Good tackle then by Festa. I think he got the worst of it. Rizzatelli looking sharp. It was a meaty collision between the two.
It was good football all round, Peter. It was good movement in the box. It was a good ball played into the box. And Festa got in a fantastic challenge, although he doesn't look too happy at the moment.
Far from it.
They should pass him over, in actual fact. They should get someone else to mark him. Rizzatelli could get him on a run if he's got a bad ankle.
The header from Tosto, well played by Pagliuca, right underneath his crossbar. There was actually a caution there for Festa. Not quite sure why. Looked a clean tackle to me. He didn't penalise him for the tackle, did he?
No, quite right.
Maybe something he said. Dissent, of course, will be stamped down on by referees. There's Petracchi, caught by Berti and Seno.
If he's not wearing his shin pads, that one would have hurt. In actual fact, he's caught him straight on the shin, and that would be very, very sore if he's not wearing shin pads. But if he's a wise man, he will have them on.
Scenza taking the free kick. Rizzatelli trying to turn defenders, can't do so though.
Who's the man running it out of play? Bianchi. He really does cover very well down this right side.
What's the news of your injury, by the way, Ray? Your season's not really underway yet, is it?
No, it's unfortunately it hasn't, Peter, after our 6-1 defeat by Liverpool. But hopefully it's coming on very nicely, and hopefully I'll be back pretty shortly.
Here's Bonetti. Hounded by Maniconi, and unfairly.
I must say, in the last couple of games, the lads have performed admirably, Peter. They've really have been first class.
Pele now for Torino. This could be promising. Rizzatelli, Pele, very nearly wriggled through. Sharp, incisive piece of attacking then by Torino.
Wasn't it a great one too, Peter? It was very unfortunate he didn't get a toe to that Abide Pele, but it was a nice little angle that Rizzatelli made for him, and he just unfortunately couldn't control it on the volley.
I think from what we've seen so far, Pele is going to be a very exciting addition to the Italian Serie A this season.
think it could be vitally important that Salenzi's fit to play up there, Peter. I think Pele will gain a lot if Rizzatelli's in the side. A lot of knockdowns, and I think he would profit from it.
Tangling there with Bergomi, which may not be the wisest move he'll make. Free kick to Inter.
I think he'll soon learn, Peter.
Taken by Seno. Sosa with a header on. I think, though, that any of his teammates can profit from. Mastine, the goalkeeper for Torino, beaten by Sosa. 3 minutes from half-time. That is still the way of it. Up goes Seno. It's a strong challenge and too robust for the referee's liking.
He's done well, Seno, hasn't he? He's always there for those second balls. I, in actual fact, didn't think it was a foul. Shenza's not the tallest chap in the world, and Seno made a good challenge there, but he's won a lot of those little nasty balls in the middle of the field.
Won by Falcone to Petracchi. Falcone had made the run for him. Well covered, though, by Beer, who does read the game so well.
Reads it exceptionally well, Peter, doesn't he? He made a great interception in the first half, which stopped Pele getting a strike in on goal, and that again was good reading of the game.
Tosto with the cross. Tosto, who was signed from Fiorentina. Now Pele. One for Shenza. Torino were beaten 3 times at home last season, and they've got a difficult task on to transform this one. There's Seno looking for a raking pass towards Starko Pachev. Seno again. Now here is Pachev. Hasn't got too much support. He's got Sosa, though. Now Beati. The time for Tosto. He was on loan at Italia for much of last season. Quite a few of the Torino players fairly untried at this level. Here's Seno now. He certainly made his mark with Foggia after spending a lot of his early career in the lower divisions. Orlando. A real favourite with the Inter fans, Orlando. I think they appreciate the amount of hard work that he puts in. Bianchi now. Here's Bergomi. Now Pachev, good touch too. Maricone looking for Sosa. Almost linking there with Pachev. Sosa can't get through. Coricola. With it by Passato.
That was an excellent spell of football from Inter, Peter, wasn't it? Some lovely one-touch volleying of the ball and great movement off the ball. It was just a bit unfortunate that Sosa's rapier-like pass didn't get through to Panchev. He's looked a lot livelier, though, Panchev, Peter, hasn't he? He's really had a go. He's been a lot more mobile. When his first season, he was very static up the front. But he appears to be making lots of runs, lots of diagonal runs away from the sweeper. And he's been found with a number of good passes.
Rizzatelli after this one. So I think Pachev thinks maybe this is his chance to make a breakthrough at last. Tosto. 10 minutes into the second half. Pele being penalised there.
That was super play from Rizzatelli a couple of minutes ago there, Peter, in the corner. When you're playing up front on your own, it's vitally important that you can retain possession and keep the ball held up. It enables players to come and join you, and Rizzatelli did just that. Chased onto a long ball, got over a good possession for his team, and brought other players into the game. First-class play.
That's a foul by Sosa. David Platt has scored for Sampdoria, I'm just being told. 3-0, they now lead Padova in Bologna. Mancini, Avani, and now David Platt with his first of the season.
Good news for England, not so good for Alexi Lalas, coming over obviously to face David again on Wednesday. Nice to get one up on him already.
Yes, Lalas playing at the back for Padova. Their one major signing really on their promotion to the top flight. The header by Bergomi. Maricone just got his foot in then. Tosto for Torino, now Pele. Sado. Rugged challenge by Pele.
He's a miniature Roger Mila, isn't he, to look at?
Singer or the footballer? Well, he's impressed me so far, Pele.
He's working very hard. He's attempting to get away from Bergamy, which isn't that easy. Always looking for the ball.
Festa, who seems to have made a full recovery now for Inter. That's him chasing forward from his defensive role, having been injured earlier in the half. Benetti now. He's always a very determined player. Pataki, oh, he missed his kick down at the vital moment. Just when it looked as if he could be through. What a great shame, because he actually started the move, Pataki, coming in from the right-hand side, continued his run. It was a great dummy, in actual fact, on Beer, but he just miscued on his, which looks as if it would be his poorer foot, his left side. So an opportunity squandered by Torino. On by Seno, down to Maniconi, who nearly joined Torino a short while ago, but Inter decided to hang on to him. Throw taken by Seno to Sosa. Now Maniconi. Pachev, good first-time ball to Berti. Pachev has made his run into the box. Certainly playing with a lot of zest this afternoon, Pachev.
Well, that was good play, Peter, wasn't it? He laid the ball off. It was a great first-time pass, and he was off like a rabbit there to get in the box for the return ball. That was good play from Pachev.
Sosa was almost released there. Remember, Dennis Bergkamp is on the bench for Inter today, so we may well see him later on. For the moment, Pachev doing enough to keep him off, I would think. And there's a rare misunderstanding involving Bergamy. Benetti's throw. Tosto. Basato with Caricula. Petracchi. He's actually done quite well since coming on for Silenzi. Towards Pele. He can make nothing of it. Maybe Benetti can. It's Benetti now with the cross. Orlando away. Now Seno in well. Up towards Sosa. He's got Pachev in support. And also a fine run through then by Berti. A typical bursting run by Berti.
It was an excellent run from Pachev, Peter. He realised that Berti was making a run to his outside, so he attempted to take the defender to the near post and leave the big space there for Berti, but unfortunately Sosa couldn't pick him out.
Free kick then to Inter. Organised by Maniconi. There's going to be a substitution here. Bergkamp is coming on, not for Pachev, but for Bianchi. Who, as we've been saying, is not fully fit, or hasn't been certainly. Although he's in the Italian squad in midweek, maybe that certainly will please Arrigo Sacchi if he's being held back. He'll be fresh up.
Bit of a strike force on show now, Peter, haven't we, for Inter?
Maniconi taking the kick, looking for Seno and Bergkamp. We've had an hour now. Inter with Dennis Bergkamp, the Dutch international on corner. And some more familiar names on the score sheet too around Serie A this afternoon. Brescia 0, Juventus 1, and it's Conte, the Italian international, who has scored for them. Juventus, of course, likely to be major challengers up at the top of the table. And a second goal for Parma has been scored by Zola against Cremonese. Parma 2, Cremonese 0. Zola, whose World Cup was curtailed, of course, by his sending off against Nigeria. A decision which will baffle me for the rest of my days. There's Bergkamp to thread it on. Maniconi. Goals in every game in Serie A this afternoon, bar one. And that's Napoli against Reggiana. Benetti trying to shake off Seno. Words between the two. He's a very competitive player, Seno. So too is Benetti. remember him in Sampdoria's championship squad. On by Scienza, Pele. His father was Pacho. There's Bergkamp's pass to Manicone. Bergkamp, who's had this back injury, so he's not fully match fit. And his first season was a rather disappointing one, certainly domestically for Inter. Most of his goals came from the penalty spot. But he did do rather well in Europe, helping Inter to win the UEFA Cup with, I think, his tally of 7 goals in Europe. No doubt about his talent. This is Bergkamp now. Right on cue. He provides that kind of service. They must hear us out there.
Yeah, not the best cross, is it, from Dennis Bergkamp? But Sosa's involved in everything. He really does. He gets the team playing, he gets involved, he gets on the ball, brings other people into the game. And it's not always the spectacular, but he gets it and gives it, and moves off into another area of the field, which causes defenders problems. Tremendous play.
Zeno taking the throw. Here's Bergkamp, who will certainly feel he has to prove himself in Serie A this season. Such a highly rated player. Had his moments for Holland in the World Cup finals. There's Berti with a cross it towards Pachev. And Bergkamp. A very clinical finisher, Bergkamp.
It was good football again, wasn't it? Panchev really has looked bright. Here he is again, trying putting the defender under pressure. He's really worked very, very hard, and it was nice ball control on his chest. But talking of ball control, that was absolutely magnificent from Ovidio Pele. Wonderful skill.
You had the feeling the crowd are taking to him already, Pele.
I think we are as well, Pete.
Yeah, Bonetti now looking to expose Inter down the flank. Oh, a spectacular jump to no avail. Pesato. Torino playing with more purpose in the second half. Tosto now with a chance to cross it in. Bia.
It's interesting to note he's actually got him down the right side since Bianchi's gone off. Berti's come across to play on his more natural side, the right side. But Bianchi's excellent at tracking people into that area, and this is the first time I think they've got in down this left-hand side, Torino. Oh, and it was handball, but it's just one of those things the defenders jump to attempt to stop it, and I think it's ball to hand more than hand to ball.
Well, there were 1 or 2 protests, certainly from the Torino players.
Seen them given for less, though, Peter, in Italian football.
Bonetti will take the corner. Away by Bergkamp. That was an untidy challenge by Orlando. Foul on Brackley. This is the referee, incidentally, who was told to smile more often last season. He's done that on 1 or 2 occasions this afternoon.
He's had a couple of dodgy decisions, but I think all in all he's refereed it quite well, Peter.
I think he's also been told not to be too whistle happy. Instructions from the refereeing federation. Petracchi with the cross, almost reached Pele. Here's Bonetti now. Gives a dangerous ball in. Pele very nearly capitalised on it too. Sosa now to Bergkamp, almost at the halfway point in the second half. And Torino suggesting they can get something out of this game now.
Yeah, they put in a couple of good balls there, good quality on them crosses, and if you put good quality on them, you're going to cause people problems. Pele did exceptionally well to get the ball back with his head.
Petracchi continues to look lively, but it's Bia now for Inter, finding Zeno. Now Berti. This is Pachev. Surrounded there by Torino defenders. There was no way past. Not much support for him, he's claiming. Bonetti. Another purposeful run by Bonetti, and look how well Zeno's tracking him back. At least he was initially.
Yeah, it was good
he held him back.
Good refereeing, Peter. He did have hold of his arm, and I think Zeno was starting to struggle over that sort of distance, and it was definitely a foul. Good little period from Torino. They seem to have him to pin back in there for a couple of minutes, and let's hope they can produce something. They're a very young side, they're doing the world of good.
So maybe here another examination then of Inter's defensive qualities. And they did come in for a lot of criticism defensively last season. Zenga took some of the blame, Battistini and Ferry, they've all departed. It's a new look into defence this season. Italia is there and Shenza, who is certainly keen to strike from long range. Now Pelé coming across to take charge. The referee still not happy with the distance the wall is away. My man is on the number 4 here, Shenza. Here he is. Not a bad effort, either swerving at Paliuka. And he goes Batraki and it's whacked away. Difficult ball then for the keeper to deal with. It was certainly dipping.
I think you've seen that free kick before, Peter. Yeah, it did move a hell of a lot. Yeah, it went from left to right and Paliuka kept it up quite nicely.
Here come Torino again. Batraki in towards Pelé. Looked to be a hand up there. It was Pelé's hands as a referee. I'm not so sure.
It's a difficult decision to make. There was definitely a hand go up, and Pelé doesn't seem to think it was his.
A free kick given to Inter, and maybe an escape for them then. Pelé most indignant.
Good signs from Aston Villa's point of view, though, Peter. From open play, Inter do look very, very sound defensively, but I've got to say, from free kicks and corners, they haven't looked the safest.
Oh, here's Sosa now. This is a great chance, and he's missed it. Suddenly through then, Ruben Sosa.
Yes, I think he'll be disappointed with that. It was a great dummy on the defender. Great first touch as well, but rather panicked into his shot here. The ball sits up for him, in actual fact, and just lifts it over the top of the crossbar. As I was saying earlier, I think from set pieces, they really haven't looked that secure, and I'm sure Aston Villa, with the big lads that they have in their outfit, will put them under enormous pressure.
Camp now hoping to pressurise Torino's defence. Safely through to Mastine. Seno for Berti, off goes Bergkamp. Patchev has come short for him. Here's Seno. Wasn't a great layoff by Patchev. Turning in to be something of a rout. Sampdoria against Padova, a 4th goal now. Mihailovic, former Yugoslav, has scored for them. Maybe Platt with one of the earlier goals. Mancini and Ivani, 2 in the first half. This is Sosa now, whose goal separates the 2 teams here. And he really should have had another one just a couple of minutes ago. Mattacodi now. Finally away by Torino. There's Bergomi. More accurate defending by him. Just going back to that free kick a few minutes ago at the other end, Shenza, he actually scored the winner against Inter for his last club, Reggiana. Very nearly made a name for himself again. There's Pelé with the head up. Up goes Mattaconi. Bisanto. Falcone. Rizzatelli was in there hoping. Well, he's got a corner. Off Festa.
Well, Rizzatelli got the wrong side of him momentarily, and Festa did ever so well to just nick it over for a corner.
Bonetti to take the kick. Curricular has come up from the back. Away by Berti. Torino wanting more quality on the cross. Berti was actually under no pressure there. Doesn't fall for Shenza. Bergkamp now. A chance to show his pace. Being pursued by Bonetti. He did want to get back at him. This is Shenza. Torino seeking some penetration up front now. Rizzatelli. In he goes again. Bergomi. Coolly back to his goalkeeper. This is Seno. Bergkamp on for Sosa. Patchev ahead of him. Support to from Maraconi. Lovely little ball then from Sosa. Looked like a push. No sympathy from the referee. There's Bergkamp with the cross. And now Patchev has been penalised. Just before that, there did look to be a shove.
It did look to be a shove. Seno pushing. Yeah, I think it was Coricola on the back post, but it was great play, wasn't it, from Sosa? Held the ball up perfectly. Timing of the run was fantastic. Little ball down the side of the defender. I think he put just a bit too much time on the ball. He might have been better off whipping that one into the near post.
This is Mirko Conte, who's coming on to replace Maracone. Another switch then being made by Inter. Just gives us time to tell you that Foggia have now equalised away to Roma. Kolivanov, another of the players who chose not to play in the World Cup finals with the Russian team because of differences with the coach. He's equalised for Foggia away to Roma. This is Abedi Pele now. Again threatening the Inter goal. In for Benetti. And Scienza. Pisotto. We've got four in the middle here, Torino. Still Pisotto. And shepherded away for a goal kick by the experienced figure there of Bergomi.
Yeah, they just lack that final bit of quality, don't they, into the box. They do tend to play around the D of the penalty box a hell of a lot, Di Torino. They might be well advised occasionally to try and get round the outside of them and get some ball across the face of the goal. Once they go through that D, Inter look very, very solid indeed.
All the way back to Pastine, which gives us a chance to bring in Don Howe. Don, your assessment of the second half.
Peter, Torino are right back into this game. The four front players at last have got involved. Bonetti, Pele, Petracchi and Rizzatelli, they've really got into the game and they're very dangerous. There could be an equaliser coming.
Meantime, it was Patchev there hoping to press for Inter. Away comes Bonetti. Certainly much improved since the break, Torino. This is Pele now, leading the charge once more. Orlando brushed aside in somewhat vigorous fashion. Free kick then to Inter.
Again, it was an excellent interception from Beer, Peter. He gets himself in good areas around the penalty box for interceptions, and that was a good headed one. It was a nice ball chip forward.
Just over 15 minutes to go. Seno for Inter, on for Sosa. Patchev is with him. Got Bergkamp away to his left. This is Bergkamp now. Good tiny defending though by Coricola. Torino on the counter-attack, but unsuccessfully. Seno down for Orlando. There's Sosa. As Bonetti came sliding into the tackle. Bags of commitment from Bonetti. 30 years old now, still with plenty to offer at the highest level, having returned to the top flight after being with Bologna. Orlando. This is Seno. Now Bergkamp. Wasn't really closed down then by Torino. On ball in search of Sosa. He was clattered by a very clumsy challenge from Tosto.
He's such a clever player, Peter. He gets himself between the ball and the defender all the time, and he makes it very tough for the defenders to defend against him. Great runner off the ball. He's really worked tirelessly this afternoon and has looked in a class of his own.
Sosa there, about to take the free kick. Torino want to make a substitution, but they can't do so just yet. And well played by the goalkeeper, Luca Pastine. Sinigalia is the man about to come on. Place of Tosto, I think. Bonetti again marauding down this left side, linking with Pele. Just got caught then by Seno. That's a yellow card. They've had quite a chat with these two at times. Seno has now been cautioned.
I think that was a little bit unfortunate. I think it was Pele's ability that really he drifted past Seno and he's just caught him as he's gone past. I don't think there was anything malicious at all there.
Maybe not the first offence though. And the referee taking into account, I would think, one or two earlier challenges from Seno. There's Tosto going off, Sinigalia to replace him. Marco Sinigalia, wearing 15. He was with Torino last season, but didn't really feature too often in the senior side. Berti. Certainly wasn't a regular, Sinigalia. That's a foul by Curricula. Kick taken by Sosa. Darting run by Pachev. Meantime, there's news of another goal. Fiorentina against Cagliari. It's an equaliser for Cagliari. Herrera with a penalty. We thought he'd scored an own goal in the first half. In fact, it was Napoli. But now Herrera has scored at the right end anyway. So it's Fiorentina 1 to Cagliari 1. Fiorentina, I think, a team to look out for this season. They've always had a very exciting reputation. Got some good players there on their return to senior company. Cross it towards Rizzatelli. Couldn't quite force an opening. Pelli in there hoping as well. And there was Bergomi.
It's a great contest, isn't it, Bergomi-Pele? Really good contest. Rizzatelli did very well there, receiving the ball in the box.
Out by Berti. Soto to drive it back through, and Aliuka down well. It's a really good shot stopper, this fellow.
He's looked very safe today, Peter, as well. And I thought in the World Cup he was having a little flap up at everything in the World Cup. Whether it was nerves got to him, I don't know. But he's looked very sound. His hands have been very good today.
Here's Sosa. Looking for Pachev. He's found him well. But not the venomous strike that Pachev would have hoped for.
It's a wonderful run and pass again. Panchov pulling off the sweeper. The sweeper will mark on the ball side of the pitch. He pulls off his shoulder and goes beyond him, and it's a great pass from Sosa to pick him out. But they're the sort of runs that these guys make all the time, trying to run off people's shoulders.
This is Seno, who's had a satisfying debut in Serie A for Inter. Now Sinigalia. Just a squad player last season with Torino. Made a handful of starts. Bisotto. Here's Sinigalia. Seeking out Rizzatelli. So too, though, was Festa. And then away by Mirko Conte. Festa was first to it. Pachev, though, unable to get the better of Torisi. Ten minutes to go. Is Sosa's goal going to prove enough? Well, certainly Torino have had a much bigger say in the second half, but so far unable to find the cutting edge up front that they need. Orlando will take the throw then for Inter, whose domestic season fell apart in the last campaign. Only just managing to stay up. Bergkamp. And this after they'd started as the pre-season favourites for the title. Well, they won't do that this time. The smart money remains on Milan, their great rivals. With expected challenges from the likes of Juventus and Parma, Sampdoria, maybe Inter as well. Here's Sosa then with the corner. Sato. Challenged by Conte. Curricula to play it away then for Torino. Sato. Petracchi. Beating Shenza. This is Bonetti with Shenza again. On now then for Pele. Released again by Bergomi. Vast experience, of course, displayed by Bergomi. But Pele has been a real handful for him. Here's Bonetti now. Pele. Forced out by Orlando. And in fact, for a goal kick. Then, who was playing for Bologna in the 3rd division last season, having featured in 2 Scudetto winning sides with Juventus and Sampdoria. Well, the signs are very encouraging for Sampdoria at the start of the new season. They've now scored a 5th goal. Home to Padova, and it's Belli. They're signing from Parma with a penalty. And Fiorentina are back in front against Cagliari. Batistuta, the Argentine international, has scored for them. Batistuta, who, remember, scored a very early goal for Argentina as they looked so impressive early on in the World Cup finals. But then when a certain Diego Maradona disgraced himself, it all fell apart really for Argentina. Batistuta will be a force to be reckoned with in Serie A this season, I'm sure. Here's Bergkamp now. Glorious pass through for Sosa, who had the pace. Good covering by Falcone.
That was great football, Peter, wasn't it? What a pass. And but the running off the ball was super as well. He made up Bergkamp's mind that he could put it in there. Sosa made a great run to the back post. Panchev went to the near post. Bergkamp electing to go far post with a lovely curling pass.
Forward by Festa. This is Orlando, who switched to the right side since the arrival of Mirko Conte as a substitute for Inter. Off Torisi. Panchev. Sosa again fails to cash in. In goes Berti. Now Panchev. Good effort, Berti, look, I think he punched it in. Surely punched it.
Yeah, disallowed, Peter, yeah, disallowed. I was beginning to wonder who punched it in, actually, but I think there we saw 3 truly world-class players, didn't we? Panchev, Bergkamp and Ruben Sosa. That really was great football. It was a pass inside from Bergkamp, which was quite wonderful. And here we see the incident. I thought it was handball on the line, in actual fact, but then Berti did punch it into the net. I thought it may well have been a penalty.
Well, a good save just before that from Pastine. Panchev was looking very sharp around the box. Now it's a foul by Bergkamp.
It was a great spell of football, Peter, wasn't it? It really was a good save from Pastine. But we saw some beautiful interplay from 3 players that, if they perform to this sort of standard, we're really in for a good Inter side this year.
The foul by Bergkamp. Punished with the free kick then, which Bonetti is taking, looking for Pele, trying to shake off Bergomi. He's so close to him again.
He did ever so well. Pele pinned Bergomi in the box. He wouldn't let him. He had him where he could feel him all the time, and he pinned him in the box, so Bergomi couldn't get round the outside of him.
Now Bergkamp. 3 points for a win, remember. So Inter will be very anxious to hold on to this lead now, maybe extend it in the closing minutes. They've had opportunities to do so. Panchev, good turn. Spanking drive then by Darko Panchev. He certainly has his appetite back.
I think he can be very happy with his performance today, Pete. He really has, as you quite rightly say, got it. Look at that. That's a great shot on the turn. That was very unfortunate. He really does look as if he's got his appetite back for the game. He's looked far better in this match than he did any of the 12 that he played for Inter last season. He really does look in fine form.
It's all about confidence. Darko Pachev is restoring his. Whether he'll get a run in the side now remains to be seen, with Bergkamp and Jonk, of course, to come back. He can only play 3 foreigners. There's Shalimov as well at the club. And Ruben Sosa, they're going to drop him.
I think the important thing from his point of view is he's putting reminders back into Bianchi's mind, and that's vitally important. He's now in the frame, and that's the important thing for Pachev.
In to throw. There's some good news coming in for Torino fans. Their great rivals Juventus are playing pressure today, and pressure equalised. Shinadi cancelling out the goal earlier on from Antonio Conte. 3 minutes to go. This is the other Conte, Mirko Conte. It's emergency now for Pastine. Certainly the crowd want him to play it forward as quickly as he can. Coricola. Senegalia. This is Scienza. Good running by Rizzatelli. He's onside here. Chance for Rizzatelli. Brilliant save by Pagliuca.
Quite right, a brilliant save, Peter, that is. There's no rebound coming off him there. They pushed up through the middle of the field in an attempt to catch him offside, and I think it was the substitute for Inter that plays him onside. Yeah, there he is, just behind Pagliuca. He plays him onside. That's probably a little bit of an experience not playing with the lads at the back. But they got away with it, a super save.
Yes, he's only 20, Conte. He's come up through the youth ranks at Inter, having returned from his loan spell at Venezia. Well, that was a real opportunity then carved out by Torino for Rizzatelli. And as we said before, it's the part of his game that has been lacking, his sharpness, his finishing. But in fairness, that was a superb stop by Pagliuca.
Yeah, he's looked very safe. They've had a real go, Torino, in the second half. They've worked very hard to try and get back in the game. And it really has been the only opportunity that they've had from open play, really. And Pagliuca was made a magical save from it.
Bergkamp. Throw that to Inter as we near the end of a game that certainly had gone Inter's way in the first half, with Sosa's goal towards half-time. But Torino, to their credit, have battled back in the second half and have made a match of it and might have got something out of the game with more clinical finishing. Curricula. Still time maybe for one last assault. Scienza. Curricula has kept going. Rizzatelli was forward as well. There's Bergomi. Keeping an eye on Pele. Up by Seno. Right into the path of Bergkamp. This could finish it now. Bergkamp strikes. And Bergkamp scores. 2-0 to Inter. A goal there from a master finisher.
Quite right too, Peter. What a master finisher. He's not been on the field quarter of an hour, 20 minutes. That really was a clinical finish. Not often you see Bergomi play a beautiful little pass like that. It was a lovely little chip pass forward from Bergomi. Onto Seno. Seno, a lovely timed pass. And there is a master finisher, Bergkamp. That's the problem, always the problem. When you're pushing for that equaliser, they're a young side, they push forward. Lots of gaps appear at the back. And when you've got players of the class of Bergkamp, there you see, he picked his spot in at the near post.
The Dutch master is back, Bergkamp. We've been left out of the starting lineup because of injury. Marks his return as a second-half substitute with a goal that now surely clinches Inter's first 3 points of the season. Bonetti still pressing here for Torino. Almost a minute now played of injury time. Petracchi falls for Scienza. Well, Torino have given it a good shot in the second half, but it hasn't been enough. And the early indications are that Inter are in for a much better season than last time around.
Yeah, I know it's too early to talk about championships and what have you, Peter, but I think we've seen a good Inter. Defensively, they look very sound. There was only the one chance in open play from Italia that they've had. Midfield, they look very solid. Seno and Maniconi in the middle of the field, and up front, of course, when you've got guys of the class of Panchev, Bergkamp and Sosa, you've always got a chance of scoring goals.
Bonetti. 2 minutes now of stoppage time. Here's Pele. Forward by Torisi. And Petracchi, no, the whistle's gone in Inter's favour. Well, there are one or two questions being asked at the back there among those Inter defenders.
Yeah, Conte's getting some stick again from Beer being the sweeper. He doesn't want anybody really being behind him at certain areas, and that's the second time that Conte has actually stayed behind him. Beer's thinking he's playing people offside, but poor old Mr. Conte seems to be turning up and playing people onside.
On by Bonetti to Scienza. Now Pessato. Petracchi's long ball, too long though for Senegalia. It's going to be a difficult season, I think, for Torino. So many changes in their side. It's going to take a while for them to gel together. And on the evidence of this display today, well, they certainly need Silenzi up front. Let's hope his injury isn't too serious.
Yeah, you're quite right, Peter. It is going to take a long time for these guys to gel together. But the thing they do have in their favour is they're prepared to have a go. And if you're prepared to have a go, once you do get that gelling of the side, you've got half a chance.
Inter have started the season with a victory. Dennis Bergkamp with the second goal towards the end. He only got 8 in Serie A last season in more than 30 games. But he started the new season with a goal to add to the one from Ruben Sosa. 3 minutes from the end of the first half. And Inter, I think, overall, Ray, good value for that win.
Yes, I couldn't agree more, Peter. They really did look a fair outfit, did Inter. Midfield, they worked very hard indeed. Defensively, they played narrow across the back and were very difficult to go through, prevented crosses from wide areas. They looked a good defensive outfit. And as I said before, up front, Ruben Sosa was quite immaculate. His performance was splendid, to say the least. Bergkamp come on as a sub. That must really take the wind out of people's sails. And Torino actually looked quite depleted when he come on. And he scored a wonderful second goal. And I thought it was a good Inter performance.
Well, let's look back on the highlights, starting with the goal from Ruben Sosa. 42 minutes gone. They didn't really have all that many chances, in fairness, in the first half. They were going quicker than this, though.
Yeah, this was the chance in the second half. A good ball in from Bergkamp, I believe. A great touch from Sosa. But it just got underneath his feet, and he took I said in the commentary, a good first touch, but his second touch was poor. And there he is, he's looking down at the ball where normally Sosa would be looking up, knowing where he's going to put it.
Now here's a chance for Scienza that came Torino's way. The man, remember, who scored the winning goal against Inter last season.
Yeah, we can see the ball moves quite considerably, and Pagliuca elects to punch it out instead of catch it. His hands were very safe this afternoon, and I would have thought he might have tried to get hold of that. So that was good defending again on the second ball from Inter.
Another Torino opening. This was Rezzatelli who escaped the marking. No offside there. Yeah. Young Conte playing him on.
Young Conte playing him on, and Pagliuca guesses right. In actual fact, Conte would have stopped it on the line. He anticipated the shot and had a slide in on goal. But it was a fair save from Pagliuca, who did look, as I said before, very sound. And this was the second goal. That's a lovely pass from Seno, who had a very impressive game. And this fella can run. He has a look up there. Shall I play it to Panchev? The keeper comes out. He sees his space on the near side and just slots it home. And that's an easy goal for the likes of Bergkamp. A really first-class finisher. And I thought he looked very lively. I know people said that perhaps he was injured before the game, but I thought when he came on, very lively indeed.
So, 2-0 it finishes to Inter in Turin. Let's have a check now on the other scores in Serie A on this opening day of the season. Bari 0, Lazio 1. Paul Gascoigne's club off to a winning start against one of the newly promoted teams, Bari. Brescia 1, Juventus 1. Juventus had opened the scoring there. Brescia coming back to force a draw. Fiorentina have beaten Cagliari by 2-1. Fiorentina, who've come up with high hopes this season, so they've got off to a winning start there. Napoli 1, Reggiana 0. Parma 2, Cremonese 0. Good start then to Parma. I would certainly expect them to be up there among the title contenders this season. Zola got one of the goals. Roma 1, Foggia 1. Roma with a lot of new talent this season in their side, including Daniel Fonseca, the Uruguayan who's joined them from Napoli. But held today by Foggia, Roma 1, Foggia 1 in the Olympic Stadium. Sampdoria, great start for them. 5-0, they've beaten Padova. Another of the teams who've come up into the top flight this season. David Platt among the scorers there. Sampdoria 5, Padova 0. And of course the match Milan against Genoa will be played later on today, and you can see the highlights of that at Mezzanotte on Tuesday night here on Channel 4. But for now, from Ray Wilkins and myself, that's it, as we hand you back to James Richardson.
Well, plenty of goals then here.